Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing a print off of my Perspex. I've done this quite a lot recently because I have been printing for next year's setup, which is actually I'm going to be selling on Etsy. There's only going to be a few prints for the moment just because I want to see what kind of audience and if it's actually worth selling on Etsy. With websites that have created a lot of creative individuals on it where everything is completely different, there can be a bit of competition, and also because of the financial situation within the UK, and also because if I'm selling more on eBay than I am on Etsy, whereas Etsy charge you before you actually sell any artwork, it would make much more sense to stay on eBay. Etsy is a good platform to sell artwork on, but the thing that gets me every single time is the fact that you have to pay before you sell any work, whereas eBay, there is a way for you to list an artwork and not have to pay anything until you actually receive the money from the customer. So that aside, I've just been doing a lot of printing and I've got some leftover ink on my Perspex. Because I use water-based ink, it means I can reactivate any leftover ink that I have used from my rolling pen onto the lino print, which is great because then I'm not wasting anything, and I also make some pretty cool artworks as well with it. So yeah, that's pretty much what I'm going to be doing. I'm just going to wet this. It has got some wet ink already on it, but it has got a few layers of dry, so the water just kind of loosens it up and means I can spread it about a bit, so you're not just printing a block of ink in the middle of it all. You literally need the tiniest bits of water for this. Hoping I don't overdo it. Did forget to mention this is an A4 size Perspex sheet. I got sent a A4 frame in the post, and unfortunately the frame actually didn't survive it. It actually got crushed really bad, but the Perspex stayed. Well, as you can see, it survived, which is kind of a good thing. I did get sent another frame and I got a free piece of Perspex out of it. So not always lost. It's going to be quite dark. I might add on a bit more water just to make it more dilute. Good thing about this, if you have too much ink on the Perspex itself, you can transfer it to another piece of Perspex if you have one hanging around, which is lucky because I actually do have one. I have a very long elongated piece that I use for much larger, but it's rather thin, so I don't tend to use it as much. You can just go in with different objects and smear this about in your own kind of way, but for me I just think the rolling pin's the best way forward because you do a lot with it. So I'm just going to wait for this to dry. It literally takes a few minutes because it's quite warm in here because I've got the heating on. As per usual, I am using my Artway paper from my A3 sketch pad. I have done a review of the smaller sketch pad, which just basically is A4 size. It's just a bit smaller. It's the same quantity and quality of the product. I will leave a link in the description box below if you're interested. It's just a great brand and material to use because it's just great for printing for me and also for drawing, but that's a whole different conversation. I am aware because there is so much ink on this, it may just go all black, which is, you know, it happens, which is actually kind of a good thing because I've actually got 2 piles in my art studio of basic artworks that are done and then artworks that need to be improved on, because I have got some more printing inks on the way in different colours, so I can easily just do a very similar base trick with this, but more dilute and just kind of print on top. A bit like screen printing, but much more DIY version. Okay. Comparing this technique to liner printing, you have to be very subtle in this. You just have to slightly tap because if you fully go in, the ink is just going to spread and you're just going to get it a bit blocky. Sometimes it is nice, but I really like the little interesting and intricate mark making bits, like this bit over here. It may look like that whole section is just going to print onto it. It will not. Put in the same amount of pressure all the way through. It's not like a direct print. It's not like a liner print where you've carved out all the lines that you want. It's very much it has a mind of its own, so anything that will come out is up to itself. All you can do is kind of just gently tap some of the areas. Because there also is so much ink on this one, you can actually reprint onto another piece, or you can just leave it. That's the great bit about it. If you think there's enough ink for next time, you can just let it dry and then reprint on just a solid piece of wet paper and not have to influence any of the any of the ink by re-wetting the ink on the Perspex. Because I know most of the black is in the middle, I'm not going to go from one side, I'm going to try and go for both, because if I go from one side and the ink will kind of stay on it and then spread across and then maybe even ruin the print. But I'm sure that won't happen. But like I said, it's a very weird process. So I'm just going to slowly lift up. I still have some really nice little bits of marks in here, but I really wasn't expecting it, so I can actually go ahead and put this back on and touch a bit firmer onto the prints. Kind of guess where everything was. It's a very fine line between getting the right amount of ink on the board without it spoiling the whole lovely bits of mark making that you can get from it. Okay, there we go, that is a lot better. I would have liked if there was some more contrast, so maybe some more blocky bits, but there is actually quite a lot of black on here compared to the white. It just looks like it because it's constant, whereas the black is much more in concentrated areas. But it's just a really nice fun way to get something out of the ink that you've already used and recycle and make a new print. Some of the ink prints you get are really interesting because of the different mark making and textures you get from it. And again, like I said, if you're not happy with it, you can literally go straight on top of it and reprint again. And I can keep on doing it until you get to the point where you're like, okay, that's cool. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did making it. Please give this video a like and subscribe to my channel, and also keep an eye out for my Etsy launch. It may be a very small one, but it's something to think about for next year. And I hope you guys have a good rest of the afternoon. Bye now.